All right, guys, so now we just need to take care of the alert because remember we have an alert state in our app.js. Now I'm going to actually make a whole new context for alert, and it's not going to be much. We only have this one method, we only have this one piece of state. However, this gives you an idea of how you can break your global state up into basically up into resources. If you have blog posts, if you have products, things like that, so you don't have to squish everything into one single context. So in my context folder, I'm going to create a folder called alert, and I'm going to create the same three files. I'm going to do alert uppercase A alert state.js. We're going to create alert context.js, and we're going to create alert reducer.js. So this is the common workflow that you'd use if you're using, if you're doing things this way. So our context is pretty simple. We can probably just copy from the GitHub context. We're basically just initializing it. So I'll copy these 3 lines here, and in the alert context, paste that in and just change this and this to alert context. Okay, and then let's see, I guess we could do some more copying and pasting. So in our alert state, let's copy the GitHub state and go to our alert state and paste that in, and we'll just go from top to bottom. So basically we want to bring in the alert context, alert reducer, okay. Now as far as types, the only 2 types we have are set alert and remove alert. So set alert and remove alert, which I already added, and then we're going to change this to alert state. And alert state, the initial state is going to, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set the initial state to null. So basically, instead of doing like an object where I have alerts null, I could do that, but since this is the only piece of state, I'm just going to set the entire thing to be null. Okay, and then we'll just set it to a single object, a single alert object. And then here we're going to use reducer, but we want to make sure we pass in alert reducer so we can use state and dispatch. We're only going to have one method, so we can get rid of all these actions. So everything down to set loading. All we're going to have here is a set alert. I'll put that in a second. Now for the provider, it's going to be alert context.provider. Change this as well. And then as far as the value, we only need 2 things. We need the alert, which is the entire state. Remember I set the state to null. It's just going to be state for alert. And then we also have our method, which is going to be set alert. So we can just get rid of that and just keep it like that. All right, and then finally we want to export default alert state. Okay, so now in order to use this, we need to wrap our component in the provider just like we did with the GitHub state. So I'm going to copy in app.js, I'm going to copy this down, change this to alert state, change that to alert state, and let's go down here and right under GitHub state I'm just going to put alert state, and we're going to wrap that. Okay. Now this show alert, let's take that and let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that whole state, all this stuff. No longer need it. No longer do we need to pass in alert as a prop here. No longer do we need to pass in set alert as a prop here. Okay, so basically we got rid of all those props we were passing back and forth and up and down. So now in alert state, I'm going to paste in our I called it show alert, but that's fine. So this show alert, let's change this back to set alert, because there's no reason not to, because we don't have that use state method anymore. Now this is going to take in a message, a type, and then let's see, we're going to dispatch. Because remember, all our actions here, they're always going to dispatch an object to the reducer with a type, and this is going to be set alert. Okay, and then the payload is going to be an object with the message and the type. And then in the set timeout, we no longer have this set alert. What we want to do is dispatch. So I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to dispatch an object with the type of remove alert, because we want to remove it after 5 seconds. So let's save that, and now let's go. Why does this say can't resolve alert state? Let's see, app.js. Oh, I said GitHub alert state. It should be alert. Okay. Where is Axios not used? Alert state. Yeah, in alert state, we're not making any requests to any API, so we don't need Axios. All right, so now we just need to create the reducer to handle set alert and remove alert. So let's go to our alert reducer, and we're going to import set alert and remove alert from our types file. And then let's create our function. So export defaults, a function with state, action, and we're going to have a switch, which is going to evaluate action dot type. We'll have a default, which will just return state as is, and then let's add our case of set alert. So for set alert, we're simply going to return the payload, which is the alert object, the message, and the type. Okay, and then, oops, why did I put a colon here? And then we're going to have a case of remove alert, which is simply going to return null. It's going to set it back to null. And that's it. That's our reducer. So let's see. In app.js, we no longer need use state, because we're not using any component level state. It's all coming from context. And we got rid of all of our props that we were passing in. So now in the alert component, which is in layout, alert.js, we're no longer passing this in as a prop, right? So we need to bring our context into this component. So let's import alert context from context /alert/alert context. And then just like we did with the GitHub context, we're going to initialize it with use context. Okay, we need to bring in use context in order to use it. I don't know, I keep putting that uppercase O. I don't know what it is. It's just the way my fingers land when I type context for some reason. So we brought that in. Now this alert right here, we could put alert context dot alert here, but then we would have to do it here and here. So I'm going to just destructure and pull out alert. We're going to pull it out from alert context. Okay, now we don't need this prop right here. We didn't have a prop type for it. We should have, but we no longer need that. So that's good. Now the last thing we have to do is when we call an alert, which I believe we call from the search component, right? So search.js, yeah, we still have set alert being passed in as a prop, which it's not. It's part of the context. So let's get rid of that. And let's see, do we have we'll get rid of the prop type. And we can get rid of this too, prop types. We brought in the GitHub context, but since we're dealing with the alert now, we have to bring in the alert context as well. So let's say alert context, and then we're going to do the same thing we did here, only with alert. Okay, so let's see, we have that. Now we're calling set alert right here, and all we have to do is add to it alert context. There we go again with the O. Alert context dot set alert, and that should do it. Actually, let's make sure we added it to our state alert state provider. Yep, right here, set alert. Okay, so the alert should still work. Let's try it out. We'll go ahead and click, and there we go. And just to make sure it's coming from the right place, we'll look in our alert state context provider, and in the value, it's null now because it got cleared. But as soon as I hit that, you'll see that the message and the type, they get passed in here. And it goes away in 5 seconds, because after 5 seconds in our alert state, it dispatches remove alert, which in our reducer just returns the state back to null. Okay, so that's pretty much my workflow for using the context API along with use context, along with the use context hook, and along with the use reducer hook. So these things in combination, I think, gives you a pretty nice flux pattern without having to implement Redux or any third-party tools, any third-party library. Okay, and it's a hell of a lot nicer because, I mean, look at our app.js. We don't have all those methods. We don't have any state. We don't have a bunch of, 4 different props, methods and stuff being passed in here, methods being passed up. So it's all managed within this single source of truth in our context.